Welcome to the You Can Man podcast, episode 71. I'm Josh.
I'm Tim.
And I'm Dave.
And on this week's episode, you need to get this done.
All right, guys, welcome back to the You Can Man podcast, where we believe what one man can do, you can do as well, with a little help from your friends and the proper know-how. On this week's episode, we're talking about some things that you need to get done. And look, guys, we're just not going to be able to make this really, really exciting. But I think
we're going to make it exciting.
It's not an exciting topic.
These are things you just don't want to do them.
Yeah.
but you don't want to do them.
For the betterment of yourself and for everybody around you, you got to get it done.
You got to get it done.
Yep.
So stay tuned for what in the world we're talking about with all of that. But guys, what has been going on?
Just got back from a road trip.
Yeah.
Yes, a little vacation. Went down to Coronaville. Okay, went down to the Panhandle.
Nice.
Yeah, I know.
Sounds nice.
It was nice. It was actually very nice. Went down to the beach. We're down there for 5 days, I think. Had
You're
a lot
talking
of fun.
Florida, huh?
Yeah, we went down to Florida.
Heard that's a hot spot.
I guess it is a hot spot. Down there, you wouldn't even know anything's different. Like, everyone is just totally checked out on the whole social distancing and mask wearing, all that kind of stuff. Had a great time, had fun, got to decompress a little bit, which was great. But I learned something about myself, which I guess I kind of already knew. But I realized that the older I get, the slower I drive on surface streets. But the faster I drive on the interstate.
Okay.
Interesting.
I can get there with you.
Yeah.
I have a theory about that.
I mean, well, so in neighborhoods, it's the starkest contrast. Because when I was a kid, I was a terrible person. I drove way too fast in neighborhoods, and now I'm like, 25 feels a little
it's
fast.
Because you have
guys.
children.
It is because
right?
I have kids.
That's my theory.
100% because I have kids. But on the interstate, I'm like, I look down. I'm not going to say the number, but I look down and I was like, whoa, like we're going a little too fast here. And just multiple. I mean, I think I don't have time for it anymore. And I'm like, look, it's the interstate. There's no traffic. It's a modern car. It's a really nice road. Like, these speed limits are, in my opinion, for my fantastic abilities, they're just way too low. And so, I'm just going to go as fast as I need to go, and we're going to get there a little bit quicker. And it's an old, because I remember being younger, I was like, 65 is about as fast as I'm going to go on the interstate. I don't know what that is.
Interesting disparity.
It's the way that I'm wired.
I'm with you.
Have we talked about having graduated license?
Not on this
drivers?
podcast.
Yeah, I know we've talked about it, just us, but on the podcast.
My dream is that the color of your car indicates the skill level of the driver. Okay, so the lighter the color, the more you need to watch out for them. Like a
yellow car.
A yellow car they are a newer driver. Obviously, if you get a blacked out car, you are good to go. It's like a black belt, right?
Yes.
So a black car equals a black belt driver. And
what about like the red sports car?
See, red is it? No, you gotta wipe all that from your memory. Red is kind of in the middle. Like, if you have a red car, then they're kind of your average driver. But that way, I just know who to watch out for. I see like a yellow car, and I'm like, steer clear.
I think it would make a lot more sense with just a different color license plate.
Yeah, but like oncoming
now,
or if you're next to them.
Have I told you guys my dream? My dream would be, and I think we could actually make this happen now.
I don't know why we couldn't make the car color thing happen, but
continue. Okay, we could.
It sounds practical.
But I think that there should be a point system. And it would be user, as in driver, generated.
Crowdsourced.
Crowdsourced is maybe a good word. So every car would have a receiver or transmitter.
Oh, you give people points?
Hold on, Dave. Yes. And then you would have a display in your back window, and it would display your current points. So if you did something good, you got a couple points.
Boop, 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 boop.
Yeah, and you could give, the driver.
You get some vindictive people. Like, if you don't let them out, they're going to hit downvote like a million times.
In today's climate, when somebody sees someone with more points than them, they're just going to want to take away points for the sake of it.
I like the idea.
It is a great idea.
I like the idea.
Maybe it would be coupled with dash cams, like, so you could be like, look,
you could prove it. Like, you could appeal a downvote or something like that.
You could only be you could only give like 5 points a day. Like there's you can't have infinity
You
points.
kind of have that with Waze, right? I mean, you get points based on the number of miles that you drive.
Yeah, it's along those lines.
Yeah, I like that though.
It could be built into Waze, I guess. But then everybody would kind of have to have it. But the graduated licensing, I think, man, if you could take a certain test that was way harder than everybody else.
Just some rules don't apply to you, like speed limits.
Yeah. And
it'd
then
be
you
like,
can
hey, you're good to go.
You can just kind of do whatever within reason.
It'd be like the TSA pre-check. They'd be like, we know you're good to go, so you can just hop on the plane.
Licenses should be much harder and more expensive to get.
Agreed.
And I know that's an unpopular statement today, but my opinion. It's a privilege, not a right. All right.
Josh,
I've got something. Yeah.
Okay. What's up with you, man?
This up. I'm gonna
It's
fiddle
a
with
cute
it.
little merce.
Whoa, you got a
a
little man bag over there.
So I got a man bag.
Okay, it's got.
I'm opening it up.
It looks like a
It's got a little Velcro.
Little first aid.
It looks
kit.
like a first aid kit.
It is. It's called. Proper term for this would be called a trauma kit.
Did you put this together yourself, or is this an all-in-one?
Together myself.
Okay, I respect it a little bit more.
Now, so it kind of goes along with today's topic a little bit. We'll get to, but some of us may or may not own firearms around this table. You know, when I go shooting weapons, and I'm getting older, I'm like, hey, we should probably take some precautions. Now,
Somebody needs a tourniquet.
Very safe with the procedures of the weapon, of where I'm pointing the thing and where my finger is in relation to the trigger and things like that. So the actual gun safety part, good. But things happen. Dave told a story about a ricochet, right? Crazy things happen. So I figure it would be a good idea. So I did a little research on what do you need, like if you go out to shoot your weapon, preferably not by yourself, what should you have on you for first aid? Because like we're talking possible gunshot wound, like the worst thing that could happen. Hunters fall out of trees all the time and like their gun goes off and crazy things happen. So this is called a trauma kit. It's different from first aid. So first aid's like general everyday stuff, bumps and bruises and splinting like a broken bone at the worst. And
you got any morphine in there?
Band-Aids, no morphine in here. This kit called a trauma kit is like immediate life-saving measure, mostly related to someone bleeding out, possibly. Yeah. So like major arterial wounds. So there's stuff in here like quick clot powder. So stuff you can put into a wound. There is gauze that is compressed into this tiny cube, but it's like yards of gauze for packing wounds. Cause like I'm learning all this stuff, watching some YouTube videos. There's about 4 or 5 things in here that you need to learn how to use. I won't walk through them all, but one's like for a sucking chest wound, like a simple sticker basically that goes on the entrance wound and the exit wound.
Ooh, that's a bad day.
And yes, but these are things like if this happened and you are half an hour, because a lot of guys go shoot out in the woods, like this could save your life. Like it could give the EMTs or yourself that much more time to save your own life, or to save the life of someone you're with. There's a tourniquet in here. There's something called an Israeli bandage, which is like a tourniquet with a compression bandage on it. There's a CPR little mask for safety, but if you're shooting with your buddies, you just go ahead and go mouth to mouth on that.
Yep.
Space blanket, like for people going into shock, like that's a big deal. Basic medical tape. Anyway, there's not a lot of supplies in here. All of this stuff, some of it you can't buy single of. You'd have to buy like the pack of it, like the tape and stuff. But all of this runs like $125-ish bucks, including the pouch. And, to have that around is like hopefully a one-time investment. I think it's worth it. And
I love it.
Showing it off.
I think it's fantastic.
I think everyone, especially.
Okay. I feel like it should come with, I feel like you need some training to use some of this stuff, right? Because it would be, first of all, it would be horrible to be out there in that situation and not have the tools that you need to take care of, to deal with that situation. But also, if you have the tools, but you don't know how to use them. Yeah. Right. So, you need to arm yourself with the training. Yeah.
There's a guy, I'm going to have to give a shout out because this is how I built this, Skinny Medic on YouTube. Skinny Medic. Great videos, teaches you how to use all of these things. Even there's a nasopharyngeal airway. So like if someone's airway is compromised, like sticking down the nose, and there's a proper procedure for that. I'm watching the videos. I've watched them multiple times. This is stuff to just stay fresh on it, because this is simple stuff. Even if someone doesn't get shot by a gun, like just a puncture wound, or someone nicks their leg with a chainsaw while you're out doing man stuff.
Yeah, this feels like a good thing to have kind of in your car if you come up on an accident, that kind of thing, right?
It's hard to do. These are hard to do in your car because some of these things are like temperature sensitive, like the clotting stuff. So you kind of like keep it in your house and then take it with you. People that are like EMTs have no problem just grabbing their bag every day and all that. But so it might take a little reminder if you want to get in the habit of bringing it with you. But storing it in a hot car apparently is not great for all of this stuff, just as a caveat. But anyway, I'll take a picture, put some links up to Skinny Medic.
Okay.
But yeah, I did that over the weekend. I'm glad I have it now.
It's a great idea.
And I got to stay fresh on how to use this, and hopefully I'll never have to use it.
Okay. Good deal. I had something to share. We have been going to a gym that has a rock climbing wall. Have you guys ever done rock climbing?
You upgraded gyms, like for real.
We did. We're only going to do it for a few months, though.
Yeah, it's quite an investment, but
yeah,
I've driven by that place. It looks nice.
It is. It's way too much money, but it's been cool. It's kind of like a resort.
I've never rock climbed.
Did you get on that rock climbing wall?
Okay, so I did.
Nice.
I did like the assisted thing that it actually kind of takes, I think it takes like 40 pounds off you.
Oh yeah,
30 to 40 pounds.
I could use that.
But muscles you just don't use really, right? But one of my daughters is super into rock climbing, and so we've been trying to go like every weekend, taking advantage of the nice gym that we have the membership of at now. And anyways, but they had a rope just straight up to the top of the rock wall, okay? And I had been doing some like pull-ups and stuff. They had these rings. And then one of the instructor guys comes over, and I've got the harness and everything on, and he's like, "Hey, you want to climb the rope with just your arms?"
Out.
Yeah. He's like, "You want to climb the rope with just your arms? Just using your arms?" And I'm like, "Okay." And so I did it. I don't know how I did it.
That's insane
So
to me.
when you say not using your arms, like you used your legs
Only
on the rope,
arms.
just
Only
straight up arms?
just your arms.
I couldn't do that. 100%. I could not do that.
I always wonder because I have a very clear memory of being in elementary school. I may have told this story before, but they had a rope, and one day we all had to climb it. And it's Dave's turn. I get up to the rope, and I get like 2 feet up the rope, and I'm struggling. And this girl is like, "You can do it, David." I was like fifth grade, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, "No, I can't," and did not make it up to the top of the rope. And I mean, that's
I told Tim earlier, that's he's in a low percentage of males his age that can do that.
yeah. Can you get me like a little buddy pass? Because I got to come try it out. I need to redeem myself.
Yeah, I can.
I think I could do it now.
So right after I was done,
Challenge.
another guy came up. He's like, "Hey, can I try that?" After he saw me do it. He did it too, actually.
Nice.
for him.
But he was bigger. Like I was like,
How tall was this rope?
I feel like it was about 25 feet because I say that it went all the way up to the top of the thing, kind of hung down a little bit from the top of where the rock climbing wall was. So I don't know though. I need to ask them. But that last like 5 feet or so, I was like, but people were watching me, you know?
Well, I was going to say,
like,
you did this in front
this.
of your children.
Yes.
So you can't be failing.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And I didn't have to come down. I mean, I guess
I was going to say, did you come down or?
he had me belayed. Like,
Right.
So I had the harness on and everything. So I just kind of was able to let go.
See, when I go, I'm going to be like, no, I don't want a harness. No harness for me.
I want my hands to
Straight.
bleed.
Yes, right.
Right.
That's
anyways,
impressive, dude. That's impressive.
You guys
is.
should try it for sure.
No, I'm good.
I want to hear from the Facebook group if anybody can do that. I don't know. Maybe it's not a thing.
You're in rare air, in my opinion.
There are people out there. Certainly, there are people that can do it, but it's not an easy thing to do for sure.
Yeah, my son was like, "You were like Ninja Warrior." I was like, "No."
I'm gonna let you think that, son.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Okay, let's get into the topic today. Things that you got to get done, that you don't want to get done, that you don't think about often. And we are talking about things like, wait for it, insurance, wills, and life insurance.
Hold on, folks. All right, buckle up. It's going to be a wild ride.
Yeah. So this came up, recent topic in my life. We got 3 kiddos in the house. My wife and I are talking, we haven't been on a trip alone in a while because we've had 3 kids, 2 years apart, and that cycle kind of happens. But we're like, yeah, when we go off, hopefully, I got a 40th birthday coming up. Maybe we'll go out of town sometime next year. But something happens to us. What's happened to these kiddos? We've known this for 10 years that we've needed a will, the entire time that we've been married. So the will thing came up. And then I'm starting to think, there's some other just boring stuff in life that you need to do. That's like the adult thing to do.
Yeah. And I should say, we're not getting into specifics really on like what you should or should not do in terms of how you should structure your will or how much life insurance you have. This is really just a reminder to all you guys. These are things you already know, but this is a reminder to you guys to be thinking about these things.
Get it. Just to get it done. Like, this is a reminder, because I'll tell you what, everyone around this table does not have all of these things checked off.
This is basically, these guys are coming to me and they're saying, hey, you got to get this stuff.
No, I'm missing out.
I think because of my wife, I think I do have all
Tim's wife works in the insurance industry.
Tim's checked all the boxes we decided.
Look, I'm just going to say that I tell people that I'm kind of like the 50s housewife when it comes to these type things, because my wife does a lot of these things because she's buttoned up like that. She's super organized. Yeah. And in fact, before we recorded, I had to shoot her some texts and be like, hey, do we actually have this or that? And she's like, yes. And then gives me like the emoji of like her hitting her forehead or whatever. But it's only because of my wife and how awesome she is that I've got a lot of these things kind of buttoned up. But
all right, so we're going to start with the easy one, low-hanging fruit first, in my opinion. Umbrella insurance, okay? Again, get excited, folks. So umbrella insurance, we're not going to go through the whole thing. This is not a financial seminar. Umbrella insurance basically goes over and above your homeowner's insurance or renter's insurance and your auto insurance, so that in the case that you caused a catastrophic accident on the interstate, let's say, and there were 12 cars involved, that's going to be likely over your limits that you have on through your auto insurance. If you don't have an umbrella policy that carries you above those limits, then you are liable out of your pocket. Like, it can bankrupt you if you don't have those.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Josh, when you were in the industry,
I did work in insurance.
There was a story you told me way back when about a sweet little old lady who used that policy. When you told me the story, I was like, man, I need an umbrella policy.
Here's the thing. She didn't use it, which was why it was the eye opener. She couldn't use it because she didn't have it. So this was, sadly, it was an elderly couple. Her husband was out driving, ran a stop sign, T-boned somebody. Somebody in the other car died. The family sued. They only had their auto insurance policy, and this old lady who'd never worked, like she had just been like stay-at-home wife, homemaker her whole life, had to go get a job, like to live, because they took all of her other assets. Like, they had to liquidate all the retirement, everything they had, and she had to go get a job. So anyway, that's a lesson. That was an eye-opener to me, was this poor lady.
Yeah, I don't want to go get a job.
So it's very cheap. That's the thing. Like, it's literally, for most people, it's like $20 to $30 a month on top of whatever you're paying for like $1 million in coverage. So well worth it. Low cost, high upside on that. All right.
Okay.
Tim's, you got umbrella, right?
Yeah, we have umbrella. Yep, for sure. I did want to make a quick thing for those you guys and gals that do not own your own home and you're renting. Get renter's insurance because it's so cheap.
Yeah, that's stuff's super cheap, right?
It's so cheap. You should totally do it. If you're not doing it, look, because you may look around and be like, what do I got to, because we were talking about this earlier when we were all renting. Like, we didn't have a whole lot. We didn't have a whole lot of possessions. So we're like, why do we need renter's insurance? We actually did do that then. When you really start thinking through things and take a catalog of the things that you own, it adds up real quick. Even if you think that you don't have a lot in your apartment or whatever, you should still be doing renter's insurance.
Yeah, do the math on replacing all of your possessions, because it's really a fire insurance policy. Like, if everything was to burn, how much does that cost to replace?
Yes.
Much overlooked renter's insurance.
All right, next.
Yep. Next one is going to be life insurance. A lot of folks probably have some through their work, at least. A lot of those offer, like if you're employed in a typical corporate structure, they'll offer you like 1, maybe 2 times your salary is like the insurance. So, I mean,
but it's tied to your job.
It is tied to your job. So if you leave, then you usually don't take that with you.
Correct. So a lot of those are free, and then you can make those policies bigger if you want by paying in a little extra. So those are usually good options for life insurance, but life insurance also pretty cheap on the whole, like big picture on a monthly basis.
Buy it when you're young.
Buy it when you're young. If you're under 30, do it today.
Yeah, so that's a mistake that I made was when I was, I think you told me, you're like, dude, you need to get life insurance. And I was like, I don't have any kids. I don't have any assets. I'm 25. Like, what do I need life insurance for? Well, then I'm 32 and I decide I need to get some life insurance.
It's going to be triple the
premiums
cost.
Go way up when you're over 30, right? Yep. And so get it when you're young.
Yeah. So, I mean, even I think we got most recently underwritten after the age of 30. And my wife and I together are like, it's like $75 a month for a significant amount of coverage, like multiple times our income. And that's the way to do it. Also, I'm just going to say term life. If you're an insurance salesman, you might not like me to say that, but whole life is generally a pretty big ripoff. Term life is where you want to go. So all that to be said, we can get to the next one unless someone else has anything about life insurance.
No, I mean, since we're not going into specifics and stuff, and this is more of a show, just a kind of a wake-up call to be thinking about these things, I don't really have anything else. I was going to say that on a future date, we should probably have somebody that really knows this stuff to be like our expert guest on the show.
Get your wife down here.
Well,
talk to us for hours, right?
That would be great. I don't think she's good on life insurance stuff, but other types of insurance.
Yeah, one more point on life insurance, like the point of it. Again, like Dave mentioned, if you don't have children, you may be thinking like, what is in it for me? But one day you might have children. Whoever you leave your estate to, you want to leave it in a good standing so that all of your obligations can be taken care of when you're gone instead of burdening that person with those obligations.
Which leads us to our last thing of having a will.
And you're going through this process right now, right, Josh?
Yeah, the will thing is kind of what kicked all of this off. We've got the first 2 checked. We got the life insurance. We got the umbrella policy. The will has been, I mean, we've known for 10 years, since we've been married, the will is the thing to do. Go get that done. Each time you have a kid, you're supposed to go and update that, and just as a refresh. We haven't done any of it yet. It's on us. We got to get it done. This is so that if you were to perish, that
when you are to perish,
there you go.
The state, the government is not the one that's kind of going to pick and choose where your assets go, or possibly horribly, like where your kids end up and things like that. I mean, generally, if you leave a spouse that you're married to, it's pretty cut and dry, but it's still going to be someone at the state figuring that out for you. So it's much better to have a will. And what's the thing that goes along with the will? Do not resuscitate, things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Power of attorney.
Well, it's a living will.
Living will, so that somebody knows, like, if you were to be in a situation where, we need to keep this person on life support, things like that. Like, even down to that level, these are things you can get outlined when you go to an attorney to get
these
the
are
will.
all things people just don't want to think about.
It's not fun.
It's yucky. It's yucky.
Yeah, it really is. But it's just those things that you just gotta get done.
Yeah, I feel like these, especially the will, is probably, I would guess, a lot easier, or maybe less. It's a lot less painful to do now, this day and age, because I would assume you can do it online. When I was a kid, I remember some strange guy came over to our house and talked to my parents at the dining room table for like 2 hours. And they were doing the will.
Yep.
And I would assume it's, probably easier.
Yeah, there's a lot of online options. It kind of goes with anything else. If you have a lot of complexity, or if your estate's massive and you've got, if you want to set up trusts, like that's kind of a thing now. If you want to set up trusts for your kids, you're probably going to want to go sit down with a professional and get that hammered out. But yeah, just at the base level, if you don't have a lot of assets, if your money's not in a lot of different places, if there's no sharing of custody or anything like that, then there's a lot of online options that you can get that done for cheap.
All right. You can do boring stuff, man.
Yeah, just a reminder to just get it done.
Just do it.
Some
just
of
get
us
it done.
always need that little kick.
All right. Well, good deal. We made that quick and painless, I think. Yeah. Hopefully this has been a wake up call for you guys. All right. We're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, I've got a little surprise for you guys. We'll be back.
All right. This episode is sponsored by 1776 United. 1776 United is a patriotic and historically inspired lifestyle brand. They make the best patriotic shirts and apparel on the market today. I personally own many of their products, and if you want to don patriotic gear without looking gaudy, check them out on Instagram, Facebook, and at 1776united.com.
All right, guys, welcome back. I'm going to have a short little segment this week. Last week, one of our topics was about pears. So it's only appropriate that I cut you guys up some fresh pear just before the podcast.
I thought you were a liar until just now, so I'm glad you brought these.
And I have some. Dave, I got you a little toothpick skewer thing.
Oh, that's
here.
what the skewer's for. Okay.
Yeah, man.
I've been wondering about this. So I
Get you some.
Got a long wooden skewer here. And
okay, so these are the Anjou pears. They're pretty gritty. I'll say that, but they are delicious.
they got I would say a foreign
That's
flavor.
a solid pear.
I know, right? Get you
get it.
some. All right, just organic
That's grown in your yard. I like that.
Valley Brook pears right here, y'all. So I think that these sat out. These might have sat out for like close to 2 weeks
Is this
after I
FDA
picked them.
approved? Has this been through the process?
Man, these are straight organic.
Yeah, these are
Dave.
good.
Were these flash pasteurized?
They might have a little bit of bifenthrin on them, but
Okay.
sorry if you don't know what I'm talking about. That's
Go listen to the pest episode.
yeah, bifenthrin is what I use
Dude,
to
that's-
spray for mosquitoes.
That's really good.
I know, right?
That's really good.
Well, I gave you guys
That
some.
might that's probably the best pear I've ever had. I'm not a huge
Really?
I'm
All
not
right.
a, I'm
Okay.
not a
Let's
huge
not get crazy.
No, I'm not a huge pear fan. Like they're always just like
Okay, now they do have a little bit of lemon juice too
Okay,
on them
okay.
because
A little flavor on there?
that keeps them from browning.
Yep.
Just like
If these grew in my yard, I would 100% eat a pear every day because this is good.
well, so the skin is really tough though too. So that's why I did peel them. So you wouldn't want to just eat them like that.
So you peel them and then you like apple core them. Is that
Well,
what you do?
I apple core them and then peel them. But I mean, I
do
guess
it the other way.
Well,
Seems
it's a little easier on the slices, I feel like. Anyways,
huh?
I don't know. But whatever.
Dude, those are good pears.
Yeah,
Good yard
pears.
Yard pears. Those are good.
Yeah. So if you're wondering what I'm talking about with the pears here, go back and listen to our last episode, and I talk about that because for years I thought that my pears that were coming off this tree were just crap, like because they were just really bad. But come to find out, pears don't ripen on the tree.
There's a ripening process.
There's a ripening process. And so I did my research and figured out that, yeah, you got to pick them at a certain time before they're ripe because they will ripen on the tree, but they'll ripen from the inside out and they'll kind of rot.
How
They won't
big
be
are
good.
they? Are they like a normal sized pear that you buy at the store?
These don't actually, this type of pear doesn't even really have the pear shape necessarily. This type, it's more of like a rounded
Like an apple?
look. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're kind of small. They're kind of on the smaller side. But this tree just produced hundreds this year. So,
That's awesome.
anyways, that's all I got. Just I wanted to have you guys taste test some pears.
a savory treat.
from the yard. All right. And before we end this episode, you guys might be wondering, wait a second. I thought they said they were going to do the Broncos show. And we are.
It's coming.
It's coming next week because we are actually taking our first official You Can Man road trip to do a podcast.
Yeah.
And we are actually going to be recording in Nashville Early Bronco, John's
In his studio.
effectively in his garage with his Bronco there. So I'm going to pack up all our gear. He's going to do a video of it because he's a videographer by trade. He has an excellent YouTube channel. So check that out. Get to know some of his videos and stuff before maybe the show comes out. And then I don't know if the video will drop first or the podcast will drop first. I don't know. Maybe we'll do that first.
We'll work it out.
Check out, I don't know what episode number it is, but we've had him on the show before. Check out that episode before you listen to next week's episode on the new Bronco.
Because we had an episode about all the rumors and what we thought Ford should do.
That was over a year ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. And this episode we'll be talking about what Ford actually did.
Yep.
So I think they kind of hit a home run. If from what I remember us saying that they should do, I think there are a little bit of some differences there, but that's going to be a really fun show, and we'll have a video of that as well. And we're looking forward to that. So we're going to be road tripping up to Nashville to see Nashville Early Bronco. So you guys be on the lookout for that. We'll catch you guys next time.